Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Today I'm coming to you from the top of the screen instead of the bottom, and I have another one of these horrible math videos. But I wanted to address the question of when exactly should I buy a draft box? And the obvious answer is if you're going to be doing a draft tournament, buy a draft box for a draft tournament. A lot of people say that set boxes and trying to use set packs for draft tournaments just isn't as much fun for a bunch of reasons I've been over. But what I really want to focus on with these numbers here is creating a model for when you should go ahead and buy the draft box for its value and not for playing a draft tournament. So, what I've done on these first couple lines here is I've set up what is in a draft box and a set box. And of course, the number of packs are different. Each pack has one land, and you get a whole bunch of commons and uncommons. But what you'll notice right away is the set box has 160 fewer commons and about 18 fewer uncommons. And that's kind of the trade-off you're making. You're getting a lot fewer commons and uncommons, but what you're getting instead are more rares and more mythics. And of course, these are average numbers over a bunch of boxes. That's why it's a partial card. But you'll see that you get more rares and more mythics. And so that's why I always suggest you should buy set boxes instead of draft boxes if you're buying them for the purpose of opening them, playing with them, collecting them, and maybe investing them, though that's been a interesting topic to see what people think about the draft experience premium and what kind of value in the future an old draft box will have compared to an old set box. But right now, if we're just talking about opening them for collecting and for playing, your set box is going to have more rares and more mythics in exchange for having fewer commons and uncommons. And I've got to take a second to divert kind of off topic, and it's this ratio of rares to mythics. And so I've constructed this box here because as I was doing research for this video, I kept finding different ratios that people would claim, and these were the common ones: 6.4 to 1, 7 to 1, 7.4 to 1, and 7.5 to 1 of rares to mythics. And these were the ratios that a mythic would be inserted in place of a rare in a rare or mythic slot, because some of these booster packs, they have a slot that can be a rare or a mythic, and so the way it'll boil down is, say, 6.4 times it'll be a rare to every one time it is a mythic. And so the way I built this table, and there's a bunch more calculation going on off the screen, is I can just change this to switch the ratio. And so you'll see that all these numbers change, but no matter which one I pick, set boxes have more rares and more mythics, and that's what we're really interested in. So then I come down to this second set here, and I say, well, how can I try to equate these things? And this is kind of another difficult topic where you have a bunch of trade-offs and assumptions. So not only are we making the assumption of the rare to mythic ratio, but you also have to just assume that, a mythic's worth about 6.4 rares, or 7 rares, or 7.4, or 7.5 rares, instead of going and looking at actual market prices. And so if you wanted to get super complicated, or you one day want to be the guy who builds a Bloomberg terminal for Magic cards, what you would need to do is go and look at the average price of a rare for the set that you're considering buying boxes of, and the average price of a mythic from the same set, and that would give you your conversion ratio. And even that would change over time. So that on its own is still tricky. So what I've done here is I've just said, let's convert our mythics to rares at whatever ratio here it is that we've selected. And so if we just kind of smooth over those assumptions and say, okay, we're going to accept them in order to build this mathematical model, then a draft box will have the equivalent of about 66 rares, and a set box will have the equivalent of about 73 rares. And so this final number is just what is the excess of equivalent rares in a set box compared to a draft box. So the set box, if we're assuming this 6.4 to 1 rare to mythic ratio, the set box will have 9.9% more rares. But as you can see, if we change this, it really doesn't make a difference of which of these ratios we assume. the percentage only ranges from 9.9 to 10.3% more equivalent rares in the set box as compared to the draft box. And so the nice thing about it is once we've built this model and we've accepted our assumptions and we come up with this final number, we can directly say that is the amount of money that you should be willing to pay in excess of the cost of a draft box for a set box. And so what I mean by that is if a draft box costs $100 and you can get the set box for $110.30 or less, the set box is the better deal because you're getting 10.3% more rares for less than 10.3% more dollars. So the ratio of value is better. And so that's the thing to look at. And you see that it's about 10%, again, assuming you agree with my assumptions here. And that means that you can very quickly look at the prices out in the market of set boxes and draft boxes and see which ones are the better buy. And that will inform you of when to buy set and when to buy draft. And it is interesting, some of these things get very out of whack in terms of the current prices of set and draft boxes of the same expansion, because there will be all kinds of supply problems. Famously, Strixhaven booster boxes were nearly impossible to find for months after the release, and then sometime in January of 21, a ton of them got dumped on the market and the price crashed down to like $92 a box all of a sudden, while the set boxes were still holding higher. So weird things can happen in short-term price swings with set boxes and draft boxes that will let you use this final number that we computed to take advantage of the market and get a good value. So let me know if you disagree with any of these assumptions. I think they're all reasonable, but of course I think they're all reasonable because I'm presenting them here and I wouldn't be presenting them if I hadn't already decided they were reasonable. So let me know if you think any of them are unreasonable, or maybe if we have a definitive answer for what this ratio is. It's kind of interesting that there's some variance and different people think different numbers are correct. And if you see any gross math error on here, let me know and maybe I'll revisit it. So thanks for sitting through another math video. I'll return to my regular position at the bottom of the screen next time. And if you like this kind of content, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.